Dreams. We're all born with them. Dreams of adventure, of finding a sense of purpose, meaning, of reaching our full potential. And wherever your dreams take you, your journey starts with UAC.
Hi, my name is Bronte. I am studying a Bachelor of Nursing at University of Wollongong.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a proud Kamilaroi woman. I'm currently in my first year of a Bachelor of Nursing at Western Sydney University.
Hi, my name's Sophie and I'm studying a Bachelor of Nursing at the University of Wollongong.
So I had already done one degree out of high school. I didn't get the greatest ATAR, so I wasn't able to really go into anything that was more, research based or more technical. So it was more art style that I got into. And then I think once I had been removed from that degree, I kind of started branching out and really looking at the different things that I enjoyed. I love watching like all your medical shows like Grey's Anatomy, and I think there's one called The Resident, all those sorts of things. And then it wasn't until I went to a doctor's appointment with my mum and the doctor asked if I wanted to watch him remove something from her head that I was like, I could actually see myself doing this, like helping out GPs, being a nurse sort of thing. And then I spoke to a few friends who were doing something quite similar and kind of decided then and there that that's what I wanted to do. That's the course I wanted to pursue.
I finished year 12 and I decided that I wanted a degree that was going to make me rich and famous. So I went to be a lawyer. Law wasn't for me. So I ended up doing a semester of business and then a semester of IT. And 10 years later, I finally came back to study nursing. I was passionate about nursing because I had been a patient as a child and the nurses that I'd had were great. And I wanted to be able to do that for somebody else.
I left school in year 10 and pursued a professional dance career. I went to a dance college and obtained an advanced diploma. Once I finished my dance career, I used my advanced diploma to gain entrance into my Bachelor of Nursing degree. I was always interested in the cosmetics industry, and I knew the best way to work in that career field was to become a registered nurse. And I always wanted to have versatility and flexibility in my career to be able to travel around and change different positions, and becoming a registered nurse seemed like the best fit for that.
This is going to be the worst answer. I kind of already knew, I was kind of looking between Western Sydney and Wollongong universities. I knew that Western Sydney was really good. However, I just kind of found myself in Wollongong a lot. Worst answer again, because of a boy. So I was like, oh, do I want to go closer to home? Or because I was spending more time in Wollongong, did I want to try a completely different uni? And it wasn't until I had a walkthrough of the nursing clinical labs at Wollongong that I was like, I actually do want to go. I want to spend more time in Wollongong. I want to go to this uni because of what they were offering. And the people I spoke to who took me around the uni and the clinical labs, I was quite impressed with what they were telling me. And the caliber of the labs as well was really what I was looking at as well. So that's kind of what made my decision to come here.
When I decided that I wanted to come back and study nursing, I'd already been working in healthcare. So I was kind of aware of the style of teaching that I wanted to have. I wanted to have something that was a bit more hands-on, that meant that I didn't have a large commute because I was going to be new to Sydney. So all of my research was online. I didn't have the ability to go to open days. So I was really heavily relying on what I could find via the university's website. So the university that I ended up at didn't have a very long commute to campus. It had more of a focus on a hands-on teaching approach rather than just purely theory. And it offered the kind of style of learning that I was after.
I researched most New South Wales universities, and then after talking to friends that had gone to the University of Wollongong, I decided that was the best fit for me. And I also, having moved back home from overseas, wanted to keep my living expenses low. So I opted for Wollongong as it's my local university.
No uni open days, just a tour on my own.
I did all of my research online because I lived in Queensland, so I wasn't able to physically attend any open days. So my research into the universities was limited to what I could find on Google. What I was after was something that didn't have a very long commute and something that offered a more hands-on style of learning. And so I was able to find out that information through the university websites. And then I ended up coming into uni through the Indigenous Pathways program. And involved in that was 2 days of online testing, which, if you were successful, then offered you a place into your course of choice.
I was living overseas at the time when I applied for my degree, and therefore I wasn't going to be back in time to go to open day. So I just spoke with a lot of friends that had gone to Wollongong University to make sure it was the right fit for me.
Fairly easy, yeah. Having done it before and having other people who knew how to apply and knew the system, it was quite a fairly straightforward process for me, yeah.
So I came into university via the Indigenous Pathways program. So for me, that involved registering online, and then I did a 2-day testing program, which once I was successful in that, I was offered a place through uni. So with that, it also gave me exposure into how the university held themselves and the kind of interactions that you could expect with staff, as well as the teaching staff they brought in as well. The application process for me was fairly straightforward. It just involved filling out the application on the university website, and then someone was in touch with me as to which days the testing would be, with a program for that testing. The confusing aspect was you were given access to a website so that you could actually do practice tests, which for me, considering I hadn't studied in a number of years, it was good to be able to have access to, remind myself how to write an essay or how to do certain maths questions that I hadn't needed to do. But just learning how to navigate university sort of portals was a bit confusing. When I went to school, that wasn't really a thing anymore. So to be sort of thrown in the deep end with having to navigate university websites, it was a bit confusing, but eventually it all came through, and being able to do that extra practice prior to actually sitting the exams was really useful.
I found it pretty straightforward. I just submitted all the relevant information online through UAC, and they were really easy to deal with. If I had any questions, I could message them via the chat function or email them.
So I had a very small impression that it was going to be different from my first degree, being that it was a private college and there was less than 15 in a class. So I knew it would be slightly different to that. But part of me also thought I'd have the big lecture halls, and then show up and turn out it's not exactly that, but it's a lot more high school like size classes, which actually made it very easy when it came to learning.
I'd worked in healthcare previously, but I hadn't studied nursing. So coming back to study nursing was kind of familiar, but kind of daunting. I'd done some of the subjects, I did a diploma, and I'd done some of the subject content prior, so I was more familiar with it. But did I have an opinion of nursing? Kind of. Was it what I expected? No. What you learn in nursing is very different to what my impression of nursing was, because you learn more about the system as a whole and the person, rather than just learning how to, hook somebody's fluid lines up, or learning how to just tick the boxes for somebody going into an operation.
I was nervous at first as I hadn't completed the HSC, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be prepared enough to go straight into university, but the university made it nice and simple and clear and had a lot of academic support, so I never felt left behind. The content of the degree progresses over time. so you don't feel overwhelmed from week one. Everyone starts from the same level and you gradually build on your work and become more confident in your ability as you move through the years.
What I thought uni would be like has somewhat changed, I think, because you kind of go in with this expectation of what, like when you start uni, you kind of think of all the shows where you see university life, and that's usually American. But no, it's a completely different, especially with like what I said before with the class sizes, getting in and they're like high school class sizes. It's such a better learning experience. There's more opportunity to kind of put your hand up, have some input, have class discussions. Part of me thought that maybe it'll just be like someone talking at me, like as if you were in a big lecture hall of 100 plus kids. It's nothing like that at all, especially with nursing. It's all small classes. Your teacher is expecting you to kind of have some kind of input. So there's a much more discussion. There's a lot more back and forth. And that kind of comes down to the content as well of what my classes are. Like you're doing everything from, basic CPR to like person-centered care, that sort of thing. So I think my impression has definitely changed on what it would be to what it is now. It's definitely more like, it's a lot better, I would say, is what my impression of uni is. It's much more better now that I'm actually attending classes.
I had an expectation of what I was going to get into with a nursing degree from having prior workplace and industry experience, but I was still caught off guard by tackling subjects to do with legal matters surrounding nursing and registration, to also do with psychology subjects. And I didn't realize that you really learned more about the system and a person as a whole and holistic treatment, rather than just learning about how to fix somebody. You really learn about what may have caused somebody to get to where they are. So when it came to a nursing degree, did I get what I expected? Yes. But were there still things that caught me off guard? Yes. And I think that's a good thing, because I think if you think that you know everything, then how are you supposed to learn?
My thoughts have definitely changed. It's not as scary as I imagined, because the university makes sure that you have all the information that you need to know, and it's all really simple to follow. Another thing that I thought would be that we would be on campus, but due to COVID, we're still online, even now going into my second year of my degree. The biggest thing I've learned is that it's not about being the smartest person in the room, it's how much effort you put into your studies. So as long as you have good time management and put in some effort, you'll be fine.
So for my last semester, I was doing a lot of person-centered care, nursing care for the older person, where we learnt a lot on ageism and that sort of stuff, and the physiological changes of growing older. And from when you start nursing to as you go on, your scope of practice changes. So we're doing a lot more hands-on stuff now with our clinical labs.
So this year was obviously a little bit altered because of COVID, but we had our practical subject where you're in every week, well, lockdown permitting, in every week learning hands-on skills that are directly what you will be using in the workforce. I'm also working as an AIN at a hospital locally to me, and the skills that I learned in class directly correlated with what I was doing in practice, which was really great for me because it gave me that extra place to consolidate my learning. On top of that, you also learned things regarding about being a nurse, things to do with your registration, expectations of being a nurse, and what the public's perception of nurses are. You also learned psychology subjects, so why people are the way they are and how people's thoughts and opinions vary as we grow and why that is. And then we also studied things surrounding communication. So if you can't communicate effectively, how are we supposed to effectively care for our patients. And obviously, the first year of any degree is really about building those foundations. And so even though you think that some of the subjects may be a bit dry, looking forward to next year, going into second year, I can see how those foundations are just going to grow and grow and grow.
Some of the subjects I've studied so far throughout my degree is anatomy and physiology, which is studying the body and the body systems, pharmacology, which is medicine and how it reacts with the body, family care, which is from babies all the way through to pregnancy, acute care, which is emergency department and ICU, aged care, which is caring for the older person, and general nursing, which is all your basic nursing practices.
So compared to first semester where we were attending classes, with COVID, everything's moved to online, of course, with lockdown and making sure we're also social distancing. And being in nursing, it's quite critical that we, adhere to all the government guidelines and health guidelines and whatnot. So it's been good to kind of learn in that sense. Like, we need to kind of know these things, especially in the line of work we want to get into. It's been a little bit hard for me because I'm very much an in-person learner. Being online, it's not really my style, but so I've definitely had to adjust. But the tutors themselves have done everything that they possibly could to make sure we're still up to speed on everything. They've been really good with keeping us engaged in classes, that sort of thing. Outside of studying and exams, it's been pretty chill. I haven't yet gone to a uni bar night. I'm still rooting for that. But other than that, it's pretty normal, I think, because I'm not fresh out of high school. I feel like I've already done everything that you would kind of think of that coincides with fresh out of high school, fresh into university. So it's not very exciting for me, but it's all just pretty normal for me.
Because I've been to uni before, I had the opinion of don't miss out on any opportunity. So as soon as anything came up, I put my hand up to volunteer. And through doing that, I've gotten involved with a lot of different communities in the university. I've gotten to know a lot of different people. And then obviously when lockdown hit, things had to change. And so my uni had a lot of weekly events going on. And so I got to know people playing bingo, playing trivia. We had, similar to the chase, the university put on a chase event, and you were put into teams and you went up against deans and vice chancellors and people like that. It didn't make up for not getting my free university breakfast, but I'll take it.
Due to COVID, majority of my university time has been spent online. But I've still managed to make some friends, and that gives you more flexibility to work, which I've actually just started working as an assistant in nursing, which you can do once you hit your second year, and you can gain industry experience and put what you've learned to practice.
I think it's definitely been the people that I've met. I've made some good friends here. I think especially in nursing, you really need to find people that you can talk to and get help with study, because everyone has different interpretations of what the coursework is. Like, sometimes I'll get some form of meaning from it and then it's actually completely wrong. And then you can collaborate with each other and kind of work through the courses and classes together. But I definitely think it's the people that I've been meeting. They're all really cool, chill.
For me, I think the best part about being a uni student is the lifestyle. Are exams and assignments stressful? Sure. But I really enjoy the flexibility that being a student affords you. And I just really like to learn. And maybe that's what brought me back to university later in life. Well, not that late. But I like the fact that you can learn anything that you want to learn about. It may not necessarily be what you're studying, but the university offers you ways to go and learn about that.
I would say the best thing about university is learning new information and skills and progressing towards a career and challenging yourself.
Yeah, all the time, but it's always within the same field. I think there was like one point where I was like, oh, I was learning about all the different, like, about epidemiology, and I was like, oh, like, let's go do that. Like, maybe I should do epidemiology, or your Grey's Anatomy dreams of being a doctor in the ER, that sort of stuff. But no, still very much interested in the nursing side of it. If that opportunity comes up, and I might look at it, but right now it's only nursing.
So since coming back to university, I haven't thought about changing degrees. If anything, I've thought about adding on to my degree. I've considered a postgraduate degree in midwifery. I've also considered going on to do my honours. But just because I've considered that this time doesn't mean that was the way it went the first time. This is my 4th time coming back to university. So just because you don't get it right the first time doesn't mean you won't get it right eventually.
No, I haven't thought about changing my degree since I left school quite a while ago, and I feel like I've gained a lot of life experience and I know this is what I want to do.
And so once I finish my degree, I definitely want to further my studies. I'm looking at masters, or if there's any other courses in order for me to specialize, because I would like to go into the emergency room, or into theatre with surgeries. I'm very interested in both of those lines of work. And I know a few of them have requirements for further study. So I'm definitely looking at specialising and furthering my studies before I get into some form of work.
When I finished my nursing degree, I have so many options at my feet, and that's the beauty of a nursing degree. What really appealed to me about it was the fact that I could move anywhere, and that my degree would be able to take me there. But I'd say my career goals is to either get to work in anesthetics, so putting people to sleep and waking them up for an operation, or doing something that really gets the adrenaline pumping, like working in the ICU or ED.
My hopes and dreams when I finish my degree is to get a grad position in one of Sydney's larger hospitals and then work towards a career in cosmetics. My advice would be to take your time and do your research for what you'd like to study, as there's a lot of options available. If you're unsure, then that's fine. Just take a gap year and then decide, because what you want to do when you're 18 might not be what you want to do for the rest of your life.
I think the biggest thing that I can tell people coming into university, no matter what you study, is that the help is there, but you need to ask for it. So your tutors are always available to you, and you really need, the difference between that and school is that people at university aren't going to chase you. If you don't submit something, then it's just not submitted. But if you're struggling, you really need to reach out, because they have to help you. But if you don't ask for the help, they're not going to know that you need it. So don't be shy. Your tutors are all approachable. Just send them an email and say, hey, could we please just recover this material, because I didn't quite get it the first time. Because just reaching out that once can offer up, a lot of doors that may have been closed to you before. So don't be shy, ask for help and put your hand up to get involved. Some people know this, some people don't, but a lot of universities will have career websites. Those aren't just for people that are graduating, those are for people that are also currently students. Have a look. If you can, there are also jobs listed to work for the university. Those jobs are fantastic. They look great on your CV, but they also reimburse you pretty well, and you get to have a lot of fun doing them. I work as an ambassador for my university, and so I mentor children. I do school visits. I do open days. I represent the uni at a variety of events, and it's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. So have a look at those websites, see what's available for you, because there are plenty of things.
UAC represents many institutions across New South Wales and the ACT. The universities featured in today's webinar are a small selection of the many institutions which offer the courses discussed today. Students should research all university offerings so they can make informed decisions regarding their future study.